Hello everyone, Manithral here, and welcome back to the Suggestion Saturday video. This video is going to be a lot about skilling. Keep thinking about the 5-year plan they have ahead of going on. Now, they might not have an outline for every single skill they want to work on, how they want to do it, etc., etc. I do think they are making a good start with making skilling outfits obtainable in-game. Even the elite skilling outfits obtainable in-game via invention. I think that's very good. It's a very good start. And we also know that there's going to be a skilling offhands coming. So there's a lot of stuff coming, which is absolutely fantastic news. The only thing I personally see that is missing is maybe... here and there, of course, a new skilling outfit. And they don't have to be XP related. So, the outfits don't have to be, you gain so much more XP per hour. We've learned that's not always what people want. Sometimes people want stuff like, well, for instance, the Magic Golem outfit. Now, it does add some bonuses, but the main thing is, one of the main things that I personally like about it is that it makes the living rock caverns creatures not aggressive. So it's a very good outfit for that area, whether you're mining or mining or fishing. So it's actually very good in regard of both of those, which is why I really like that. Now, however, it would be nice to see more skilling outfits come to be like that. And something tells me that will be the case down the road, which is very good news for you guys, very good news for me. I mean, I might have a lot of 99s and everything already, but it's always nice to see this stuff come out. I don't care if it comes out even though I already have the skill maxed out. That doesn't really bother me because you know what? I know I'm not the only one out there. That's what you gotta think about with that. I mean, if you have been playing for so many years, like for instance me, I was playing around 03, 04, I've been playing around since then. Of course skilling methods are going to get easier. I mean, it's to be expected. It's an MMO, it's a constantly changing MMO. That's what I love about this game. It's constantly going. And that is why it's still around to today, is because it keeps going, it keeps evolving, it keeps going further. So with that being said, that's why I want to see it keep growing like that. And if it keeps growing like that, it's going to be really good news for everybody. And right now, the biggest hole for RuneScape is the factor of the skilling. Combat is actually really good. It could use some fine-tuning with maybe some more abilities, maybe a little bit more of a balanced structure between Legacy and EOC. But that, I will say, that one has got to be really hard to do because you got a lot of balancing you have to do. You don't want to make one overpowered. You don't want to make one too weak, too strong. It has to be a fine line, but it's the point of finding that line. But from the Combat Council, they do plan on doing stuff with combat too. So I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on over these at least next 5 years, at least. So you can be kind of guaranteed that Jagex is planning on this game being around for at least another 5 years, because why have a 5-year plan if you just plan on closing it out in 1 year? It doesn't make sense. And the reason why I bring up something like that is because, well, when you think about an MMO, RuneScape has been around for a very long time, and it has been facing, a lot of challenges with new MMOs rising up and then disappearing, but a lot of MMOs that will rise up too and just stay there. So I think that's one of the key reasons why they want to stay purely RuneScape. So there's certain things we may never see in RuneScape. Like, as much as I would like to see some playable races, I don't know if it'll actually come to be because it isn't necessarily RuneScape. So it's one of those that's kind of up in the air. They might do something with it, they might not. I think, honestly, if they're going to do anything with it, it's going to be the customizable overrides, like the Solomon General Store. Probably more defined than like the previous Elvis outfits and stuff like that. But I think overall, we're looking to see a very good year. But now back to the suggestion, is we're getting to see more and more skilling stuff, which is fantastic. We're going to be soon seeing the offhands, which was projected from RuneFest. They were projecting all the updates that were there that were actually announced, like the skilling offhands, to be approximately within 6 months. Maybe a little bit longer, is subject to change, but they guarantee these updates will be coming in time. And the projects that were mentioned were actively being worked on, so we should be seeing those skilling out offhands pretty soon. I'm going to guess it's going to be early next year. But since that is the case, I would also like to see more skilling stuff and allowing more stuff to be augmented, if you will, with invention. Because right now there's a lot of skills that have stuff, but there's a lot of skills that don't have anything. Now I understand it's actually probably a very touchy and very hard one to do, because when you think about it, it's like, okay, well, what skills can really be augmented? What skills should be augmented? That's a hard one to do when you really break it down and think about it, because, of course, gathering skills are probably the easiest one to go about doing it. Because how do you really do an augmented herblore? So that's actually kind of a tricky one, because the only thing that's really used that I can think of offhand is the pestle and mortar, which, if you're not familiar, because you've been playing since after the tool belt was released, the pestle and mortar, you actually needed that beforehand to clean your herbs, which it was a pain, but it worked. So maybe if they had an equipable main hand version of that, and you got to augment it. You know, simple things like that. Thieving would be a hard one to figure out, because that one's kind of tricky. But there's a lot of skills like crafting. There could be like a chisel you could have, or a needle that you could actually have, and you could have it so you could augment it. Hunter's another tricky one, but they do have hunting items that you can actually make for invention, which is actually fantastic. So there is stuff, and there's stuff that's slowly being integrated. It's just, my only thing is, I would love to see more main hand items. More even spread throughout all skills. Not just one or two skills, but all skills. Not just some crafting, some support, or majority of the gathering. I want it to be across all skills, because that would make the game feel more completed. Now, having an ability that can augment a skill, that could be interesting. That would be an interesting idea. But also, this is going to touch into another thing I had in mind a while ago, and I don't think I actually did a video on it, so I'm going to tie that with this video, because this is pertaining to skilling. And it's going to be a combat mixed with skilling. So what you would have is, let's say for whatever reason, there's an ability you can learn through, let's say, the Thieving Guild, okay? And what it is, it's a melee ability that allows you to attack and steal from your opponent. Now, if it's a PvE opponent, you get to steal basically an extra loot from it. So basically, you would have access to its loot table, and you'd be stealing from that. Now, if you had something like the Luck of the Dwarves, you know, it could maybe make it even better yet, or Haslemere Signet, because it would follow the same principle as that, so you'd be stealing from your opponent. Now, in a PvP sense, since that could get out of hand, it wouldn't work in PvP, mainly because it could get out of hand in that sense. Because there it would have to be decided, okay, well, can you steal equipped items or could you steal inventory items? If it's just inventory items, that would be fine. But if it goes into the equipment area, that wouldn't be as fine because you have a lot of roadblocks. Because some items aren't tradable, so it's like, well, how would it figure that, etc., etc. But I think that would actually be an interesting idea where you would actually have your skillers being involved with combat. So it would take, not only would it take a thieving level, but it would take an attack level to actually have that ability. And then maybe there's a smithing ability, which helps you utilize your, not only your smith items, like your weapons and armor, so there could be 2 of them, where you could enhance your armor for a short time frame. Now I realize there's kind of already abilities like that. That's why that one really needs some fine tuning. But maybe even something like mining, where it would give you like a burst of strength and it could do a very big critical hit depending on your mining level. See, there's different things in like magic, well, magic and fire making. That'd be a very good combination. There's a lot of things we could do with abilities and skills with combat. Instead of just what we're doing now, we could actually kind of try to mold them together so they kind of do go hand in hand. More so. It would make skillers be a little bit more advanced. And then if you're somebody who's just pure straight up combat, you can be pure straight up combat still. But people who also take part in the full game would also be getting benefits from taking part of both combat and skilling. So that's why I think this suggestion all ties in really with skilling and over the next 5 years. And I really think the concept of adding skilling into combat abilities would be absolutely very interesting and fun. It would make people pay more attention to their abilities, especially if there's new abilities. It'd make people plan for their situations, plan for the target ahead. And then it's just like, okay, well, do I want to bring these abilities for this fight? Do I want to bring that ability for this fight? You'd really, really, really have to pay attention. Which is very good. That's what combat needs to be. I mean, if you don't want to have to pay like a strong attention to it, yeah, I mean, you can just set up a revolution bar, and if you don't even want to take part in the abilities like that, you don't have to. You can just go into legacy mode and enjoy the game the way you've always enjoyed it. If you don't want to go into the skilling abilities, you don't have to use them. You can use the plain ability or the normal abilities how you see fit. You don't have to. I think it was Maudig that mentioned about how the mutated abilities, such as how Salt in the Wound affects the dazing shot and turning it into a punctured shot. And what it does is dazing shot actually keeps all of its main attributes, but it also adds puncture, which puncture is a damage over time ability or effect on something. And it does damage every few seconds, and it can add so many stacks, but I think it only does damage in accordance to whatever it gets hit by. And then there's also the Salt in the Wound ability, which is a threshold, which you use that and does extra damage corresponding to the amount of stacks you have on it. So, these wouldn't necessarily be mutator abilities like those, which Maudig, I thought of an excellent one for you. Instead of just the Ice Asylum, how about you have a Fire Prism attack? Well, Fire Prism mutator. And what that does is instead of spreading an AoE heal ability, it spreads an AoE attack ability, where anything within that circle takes damage. Well, except, the players themselves. That was kind of suck. But, so there would be that, and then it'd kind of be like the Corruption Blast, where it damages everything around it, but only your the target is the one that's actually being aggressive, and the closer you get to the center, the more damage it does. So this is how abilities could be really utilized, and this is how something like skilling can really bring into it. I really want to see skilling have more involvement with combat, because combat already plays a heavy role in skilling, so why not have it the other way around, where it's also the same way, where, you know, skilling has a heavy hand in combat. Because right now, skillers, well, you know, they don't have means to, you know, their stuff doesn't sell as well because, well, everybody can get it from combat. But let's say, you know, since things are dirt cheap, there's no point in gathering. What if everybody wants to gather now because there's some sweet kick butt ability towards the high end of mining? You know, people are going to want to go for it more. But that's this week's suggestion. If you guys like it, be sure to let me know. Give me some ideas if you have some of your own about, like, maybe how abilities should work, and maybe some abilities, like things you would like to see, some skilling things you would like to see. And of course, you know, these kind of videos, if you really like the idea, always give a shout out to Jaggets to try to check these videos out, because if there's actually a good idea that can make it in the game, I would love to see it. And I don't care about credit or anything for it, I just would love to see it in the game. That's how I've always been. I've actually had some ideas, maybe whether they're coincidental or not, actually leak into the game. Whether they said, hey, this part of this idea is pretty good, let's use part of that. I don't care, I just think it's awesome, because, I mean, it's a game I enjoy, it's a game we enjoy, you, the viewers, me, you know, everybody. And it's a game I want to keep seeing going stronger and stronger. That's my whole goal, is to keep having this go strong. So that'll do it for this video. So thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, later guys.